Being the chosen one often feels like standing in a crowded room and still sensing that you are entirely alone. You walk through life with a heightened sense of awareness, a deep intuition that whispers to you in moments of silence, and an invisible weight on your shoulders that others around you don't seem to carry. You feel different, not better, not worse, but fundamentally different from others. It's not arrogance. It's not pride. It's the undeniable realization that your life has always been marked by something more. From a young age, you sense that your purpose diverged from the typical, that your calling stretched beyond the ordinary path. This video explores why you feel this way, what it means to be the chosen one, and how to understand and accept your unique path. We'll dive deep into the emotional, spiritual, and psychological aspects of feeling different, and why this sacred burden is also your greatest gift. Before we go deeper, I encourage you to watch this video until the very end. Every word spoken here is meant to connect with the deepest parts of your soul. And if these words resonate with you, please take a moment to write your warmest wishes in the comments, along with the number 77. This act isn't just symbolic, it's a spiritual contribution. Your wishes and energy feed into a collective force that vibrates across the universe. It's a way of anchoring your dreams into reality, calling forward what you've long desired, and igniting the energy of manifestation not just for yourself, but for everyone who connects with this message. Together, through our shared intention, we help activate a greater flow of love, purpose, and transformation. From the moment your consciousness began to bloom, you may have felt like you were walking through life slightly out of sync with everyone else. While others seemed content with routine, small talk, and superficial connections, you were craving depth. You weren't interested in playing roles to fit in. You were always seeking the truth behind the mask, the essence beneath the surface. This longing for authenticity, for something more, is one of the earliest signs of the chosen one path. You were wired for depth, for intensity, for transformation. Your soul knew that it didn't come here to live a life on autopilot. Others around you might have labeled you as too sensitive, too serious, or even too intense. But this intensity wasn't a flaw. It was an indicator. You were not born to merely observe the world. You were born to shift it. And that kind of mission requires a different spiritual architecture. It requires a heart that feels deeply, a mind that questions constantly, and a spirit that refuses to settle for anything less than truth. You've likely gone through periods of deep loneliness or confusion, wondering why others don't seem to feel or see what you do. But this is all part of the process of becoming. You are being sculpted, refined, and prepared for a life that defies normality because your purpose is not rooted in normal. Being the chosen one doesn't mean you'll have an easy life. In fact, your path is often laced with challenges designed not to break you, but to awaken you. These trials are like sacred initiations, tests that strengthen your resilience, expand your wisdom, and awaken dormant gifts within you. You may have faced betrayal, loss, rejection, or periods of complete isolation. Each of these moments was not a punishment. They were divine interventions, pushing you inward, forcing you to grow, and stripping away the parts of you that were never truly you. Often, the chosen ones are placed in environments where they are surrounded by people who don't understand them. This serves a divine purpose. It teaches discernment. It teaches solitude. And most importantly, it teaches you how to remain true to your inner light even when no one else sees it. You learn to trust the voice within, to lean on divine guidance, and to stand tall in your truth, even if you must stand alone. These seasons of solitude are not permanent. They are preparatory. The isolation is an anvil upon which your soul is forged. You might also find that you're deeply intuitive or empathic. You pick up on energies others are blind to. You feel people's emotions as if they're your own. This is not a coincidence. It's a spiritual ability that has been awakened in you because your mission requires it. You are not meant to simply witness suffering. You are meant to alchemize it. You're the one who walks into dark rooms and brings light, who sees potential in broken things, who hears the silent cries no one else notices. This emotional depth, this spiritual perception, is both a gift and a responsibility. It sets you apart, and it's part of why you feel different. There's also a deep inner knowing within you, a sense that you are being guided even when you don't know exactly where you're going. You've had moments where synchronicities pile up, where signs appear, where things align in ways that defy logic. These moments are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The universe speaks in symbols, and you are attuned to its language. This heightened awareness of divine timing and cosmic signs is part of your spiritual DNA. It is one of the ways you are being directed, nudged, and reassured that you're on the path, even when it's not clearly marked. It's also likely that you've always had an innate desire to help others, to heal, to uplift, to guide. You've been the friend who listens, the stranger who cares, the quiet observer who sees what others miss. This isn't random. You've been entrusted with a sacred capacity to hold space for others, not because you're supposed to carry their burdens, but because your presence itself is healing. Your voice, your energy, your insight, they are medicine to those who are ready to receive. You may not have always felt confident in this role, but the fact remains, you've always been a light in the lives of others, even if they didn't know how to express it. One of the hardest parts of being the chosen one is feeling like you don't belong. This deep inner ache, this unshakable sense that you're not at home in this world, is part of the soul's longing for divine alignment. You were never meant to fully belong to this world because your soul originates from higher dimensions. That longing is not a curse, it's a compass. It keeps you seeking, expanding, evolving. It drives you toward your purpose and away from distractions. It helps you recognize truth in a world full of illusion. You may have gone through phases of intense doubt, questioning your path, your identity, your value. That's natural. Every chosen one walks through their own wilderness. But even in your lowest moments, there's been a flicker inside of you, a spark that refused to die out. That spark is your divine essence. It's what keeps pulling you back toward your calling. It's what whispers, even when you're on your knees, that this pain has meaning, that this storm has purpose, that you were born for something more. The world doesn't make it easy for chosen ones. We live in a culture that celebrates surface over substance, noise over depth, conformity over authenticity. But the chosen one cannot thrive in shallow waters. You need depth, silence, truth. You need to build a life that reflects your soul, not your circumstances. And that means breaking free from societal expectations, shedding layers of false identity, and stepping boldly into your true self, even when that self is misunderstood. Your journey is not linear. It's cyclical, spiral-like, layered. There will be awakenings, then regressions, then awakenings again. But each cycle brings you closer to the core. Each round deepens your clarity. Each step reveals more of your purpose. And as you evolve, you begin to understand why things had to happen the way they did. You begin to see the divine intelligence in every delay, every detour, every heartbreak. You start to reclaim your power, not from a place of ego, but from a place of alignment. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this path is that you eventually come to see your differences as sacred. What once felt like alienation becomes a source of strength. What once caused pain now inspires purpose. The very things that made you feel separate are the things that make you powerful. You no longer see your uniqueness as a burden, but as your most divine asset. And you realize that being different was never a punishment. It was the proof that you were called for something greater. You are not alone in this. All around the world, others are awakening. Other chosen ones are hearing the same inner call. We are scattered, but we are connected. We are the bridges between realms, the translators of divine truth, the vessels through which love, light, and wisdom enter the world. And though the path may be lonely, it is never empty. You are surrounded by unseen forces guiding you, protecting you, and cheering you on. This is only the beginning of what it means to walk this path. There is so much more to uncover, so many deeper truths to embrace, so much inner power to awaken. The journey of the chosen one is long, sacred, and profoundly transformative. And in the next part, we will go even deeper into the signs, challenges, and breakthroughs that define this powerful spiritual identity. When you walk the path of the chosen one, you begin to realize that many of your life experiences were not random, but divinely orchestrated. The patterns become clearer in hindsight. Each hardship had its purpose. Each detour brought you closer to a deeper understanding. And each separation from others was a spiritual initiation. As you look back over your life, what once seemed like painful coincidences begin to form a cohesive narrative. You were being shaped, not punished. You were being refined by fire, not consumed by it. You were never meant to be like everyone else, because your mission has always been unlike anything typical or average. This process of awakening is never abrupt. It unfolds over time. Sometimes it's triggered by an event so profound that it breaks open everything you thought you knew about the world. For others, it's a quiet unraveling, a slow burning realization that there is more to life, more to yourself, more to everything you've ever been told. This awakening brings discomfort at first. You might feel detached from former friends, estranged from family, or disillusioned with your old goals. That's because the lens through which you view reality is shifting. You're not the same person anymore. Your soul is leading, and the ego is loosening its grip. This feeling of being different begins to deepen. You're no longer able to ignore the deeper meanings behind things. While others may be focused on appearances, materialism, or trends, you're concerned with truth, energy, and purpose. You feel emotions in layers, perceive intentions behind words, and sense energy shifts in a room like a tuning fork. You might find yourself avoiding certain crowds, not out of judgment, but because your system can't tolerate environments that are out of alignment with your frequency anymore. And that's part of the transition. Your vibration begins to change. The energy within you, the frequency of your thoughts, the purity of your intentions, they all elevate. This doesn't make you superior to others. It makes you more attuned. And with that attunement comes sensitivity, clarity, and a whole new set of spiritual challenges. You begin to feel things more intensely, not just your own emotions, but the energies of people, places, even time periods. Crowds can become overwhelming. Surface-level conversations can feel like a chore. You might feel the need to withdraw more frequently, not because you're antisocial, but because your soul needs quiet to hear the divine. As your perception sharpens, you begin to see through the illusions around you. You start recognizing when people wear masks, when they say one thing but mean another, when they operate from ego instead of soul, when they are projecting instead of connecting. You start feeling the dissonance in relationships that used to seem fine. And while this can be disorienting, it's also empowering. You're not going crazy. You're waking up. You're seeing with spiritual eyes. You're sensing what's real beneath the noise. Many chosen ones experience repeated cycles of death and rebirth, symbolic ones. You let go of who you thought you were, and then slowly grow into who you truly are. This process is rarely comfortable. It involves grief, letting go of identities, roles, relationships, dreams that no longer align. You might mourn who you used to be, even as you feel the pull toward who you are becoming. This in-between space, the void, is where most chosen ones spend significant time. It is the sacred cocoon between breakdown and breakthrough. In this void, you may feel directionless. You may question everything, including yourself. You may doubt your gifts, your intuition, your path. But this inner storm is not meant to destroy. It's meant to cleanse. It's stripping away the false so that the truth can emerge. Trust that what feels like chaos is often the preparation for clarity. The divine uses these seasons of emptiness to plant new seeds within you, seeds of power, vision, healing, and purpose. And then slowly, you begin to rise. Something within you stirs. You find strength in your sensitivity, wisdom in your wounds, and a message in your mess. You begin to see the beauty in your journey, the way you've been guided, the resilience you've developed, the inner authority that was forged in silence. You stop seeking validation from the world because you begin to validate yourself. You stop chasing love from those who don't see you because you start seeing yourself. And that inner recognition changes everything. You begin to embody the essence of the chosen one, not through grand gestures or public declarations, but through presence. Your energy becomes grounded, clear, and magnetic. People may begin to seek your counsel, even if they don't know why. You walk into spaces and shift the atmosphere without saying a word. You become a transmitter of peace, truth, and higher awareness. Not because you're trying, but because you're being. The more authentic you become, the more aligned you are with your divine assignment. Still, this role isn't without its burdens. Being the chosen one doesn't exempt you from pain. It increases your capacity to feel it. You might carry the grief of generations, the pain of collective consciousness, the unspoken sorrow of those around you. But you also carry the light of healing, the codes of truth, and the blueprint for transformation. Your soul agreed to this before you were born. And even when it's hard, you know deep down that you wouldn't trade your path for anything because you were made for it. You may also notice that your inner world starts to influence your outer reality more directly. Your thoughts manifest more quickly. Your intuition becomes sharper. The universe seems to respond to your intentions with eerie precision. This is because you are no longer operating from unconscious programming. You are living in alignment, and alignment creates miracles. Your inner clarity begins to ripple outward, shaping your experiences, drawing the right people to you, revealing the next step on your journey. Relationships begin to shift as well. Some people fall away naturally, others drift because the resonance is no longer there. This is not a loss, it's a realignment. As you elevate, you attract those who match your frequency. Soul family begins to appear. Those who speak your language, who feel like home, who honor your essence without explanation. These connections are not based on history, convenience, or obligation. They're based on soul recognition. And they serve as sacred mirrors, reflecting your light back to you. But to fully embrace the path of the chosen one, you must also learn the art of surrender. You must release control, attachment, and ego. You must let go of how you thought life would be and make space for what it's becoming. This doesn't mean giving up your dreams. It means allowing them to evolve. Your purpose is not a fixed point on the map. It is a living energy that grows with you. The more you let go, the more room you create for divine flow. There is also a profound sense of responsibility that comes with awakening. Once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. Once you hear the call, you cannot ignore it. This responsibility is not a burden, but a blessing. It means that your life has meaning, that your voice matters, that your energy shifts things in ways you can't always measure. You become a steward of light, not to be worshipped or followed, but to guide others home to themselves. And this is perhaps the greatest secret of being the chosen one. It was never about being special. It was about being of service. It's not about power. It's about purity. It's not about standing above others. It's about standing in truth, so others can remember theirs. You are a lighthouse, not the shore. You are a reminder of what's possible, not a destination. And the more you embody your truth, the more you give others permission to do the same. You also begin to realize that your energy is your most sacred currency. You protect it fiercely. You become mindful of what you consume, physically, mentally, emotionally. You no longer tolerate what drains or diminishes you. You choose relationships that honor your frequency. You create environments that nourish your spirit. You learn to say no without guilt, and yes without fear. Your life becomes an extension of your soul, not a reaction to your wounds. This inner shift changes how you move through the world. You no longer seek external validation. You no longer chase what's trending. You no longer dim your light to make others comfortable. You speak truth, even when it shakes things. You choose peace, even when it's misunderstood. You trust the timing of your life, even when it looks like nothing is happening, because you know, deep down, that something sacred is always unfolding. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be true to yourself, and those who are meant to understand you will find you. They will feel your energy. They will hear your frequency. They will recognize your soul. You don't need to explain yourself. You only need to be yourself. And that is more than enough. Being the chosen one means remembering who you are every single day. It means walking in integrity, even when it's hard. It means holding space for others without losing yourself. It means honoring the divine within, even when the world forgets. And as you continue on this path, you will begin to see the sacred in everything. Every moment, every lesson, every breath becomes part of the dance between your soul and the divine. This is not the end of the journey. It is a sacred unfolding. In the next part, we will explore even deeper aspects of your role as a chosen one. We will uncover the energetic battles you face, the power of your presence, and the miracles that follow those who walk this path with courage, humility, and love. There comes a moment on your path, as the chosen one, where you begin to realize just how deeply your presence affects everything around you. You start noticing the unspoken shifts in rooms you enter. People might pause when you speak, even when you say little. Others may feel inexplicably drawn to you, as if your energy carries something ancient, comforting, and mysteriously magnetic. It's not that you're trying to be noticed. Your soul simply cannot be ignored. And yet this energy isn't always met with appreciation. Often, it is met with resistance. Because as a chosen one, you shine light in places that others would rather keep dark. You reflect back to people their own authenticity, or the lack of it, and that alone can trigger discomfort. Some people may misinterpret your presence. They may project their fears, insecurities, or jealousy onto you. You might find yourself disliked without cause, misunderstood without reason, or judged unfairly by those who barely know you. This is a silent battle that many chosen ones face, the weight of being misread by a world that hasn't yet awakened to its own truth. But this is not a punishment. This is part of your purification. It teaches you how to be rooted in your essence, regardless of how others respond to you. It shows you that your truth must be lived, not explained. You begin to learn emotional detachment, not out of coldness, but out of spiritual maturity. You realize you cannot save everyone. You are not here to convince, convert, or conform. You are here to hold frequency, to be a lighthouse, even when the storm rages around you. And this demands inner strength. This strength is not built overnight. It is cultivated in the unseen moments. When you cry alone, but still choose to rise. When you keep showing up, even while doubting yourself. When you give without seeking recognition, and love without guarantee. This spiritual grit becomes the core of your identity. And the more you endure, the more you embody your soul's wisdom. Not the kind of wisdom found in books or lectures, but the kind that lives in scars, silence, and surrender. Your journey will often place you in situations that test your heart. You might be sent into environments where you feel completely out of place, not because you're wrong for being there, but because your energy is needed. You might be the only one in a group who feels deeply, questions everything, and sees through the surface, and this isolation can sting. But know this, your presence is often the disruption that begins the healing. You don't have to speak to shift a frequency. Sometimes, your vibration alone begins to unravel generational patterns that no one else was willing to confront. And yet, you're human. You will long for belonging. You will ache for companionship, for understanding, for mirrors that reflect your essence without distortion. That longing is sacred, but it must never make you shrink. It must never drive you to dull your light in exchange for temporary connection. Because when you abandon yourself to be accepted, you attract people who do not even see the real you, and that kind of connection is more isolating than solitude. The chosen one's path requires discernment. You learn to sense not just who people are pretending to be, but what energy they carry, what wounds they have yet to face, what truths they are running from. This ability is both a gift and a responsibility. You cannot ignore red flags. You cannot participate in what your spirit rejects. You cannot stay in places that cost you your peace. And so, boundaries become holy. Silence becomes a shield. Distance becomes a form of love, for them and for yourself. As your awareness deepens, you begin to feel time differently. You sense when seasons are ending, long before anything changes on the surface. You feel when energy shifts, when alignments fade, when something spiritual is complete, even if it hasn't been spoken. This intuitive knowing helps guide your steps, but it also isolates you further. Because most people move based on logic and appearance. You move based on vibration and divine timing. And that makes your path unique, often misunderstood by those who haven't awakened. But what sets you apart also protects you. Many times, the rejection you face is a redirection. The silence is sacred space. The delay is divine preparation. What feels like loss is often the shedding of what cannot come with you to the next level. And while others may race ahead, you walk with intention, because you know your steps are ordered, your life is orchestrated, and nothing meant for you can ever be taken from you. This spiritual maturity brings clarity. You begin to see the difference between ego and intuition, between reaction and response, between distraction and alignment. You learn to trust your inner voice, even when it whispers against the noise of the world. You stop seeking shortcuts because you understand that growth requires depth. You stop needing constant confirmation because you've built your own connection with the divine, and in that sacred stillness, you find peace. The world may label you many things: too sensitive, too intense, too deep, too distant. But your soul knows otherwise. You are calibrated for truth. You are designed for depth. You are built to stand alone when needed and to rise when others fall. Not because you are better, but because you are chosen. And that choosing comes with preparation, discipline, and grace. It is not for the faint of heart, but it is for you. There will be moments when you feel weary. The weight of carrying light in a dark world can be exhausting. The pressure to remain grounded while everything around you shifts can feel overwhelming. And during these seasons, you must return to your source, whether through meditation, prayer, nature, stillness, or solitude. You must refill your cup. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. And the more you grow, the more sacred your self-care becomes. Because energy is your greatest currency, you must learn how to manage it. This means protecting your peace, guarding your focus, and honoring your body. It means walking away from chaos without guilt. It means allowing others to feel what they need to feel about your choices without trying to change their mind. It means understanding that your growth may intimidate some and inspire others, and that both are okay. Your job is not to be understood. Your job is to be authentic. You begin to notice synchronicities more often. Repeating numbers, dreams that come true, conversations that feel divinely timed. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are signs that you are aligned, that the universe is responding to your energy, your intent, your faith. And even when you don't have all the answers, you begin to trust the rhythm of your journey. You don't need to see the full picture to take the next step. You just need to stay connected. And sometimes, the greatest growth happens when you're standing still, when nothing seems to be happening, when doors aren't opening, when clarity isn't coming. Those moments are sacred too. They teach patience, surrender, humility. They stretch your faith. They remind you that you are not in control, but you are in alignment. And alignment is what moves mountains. As you evolve, your definition of success begins to change. It's no longer about achievements, applause, or approval. It's about peace, integrity, purpose. It's about waking up and knowing that you are living in truth, that you are not betraying your soul for temporary comfort, that you are not chasing shadows, but embodying light. And that is the quiet victory of the chosen one. You also begin to feel a deeper connection to the collective. You sense when humanity is going through shifts, even when no one talks about it. You carry empathy that goes beyond personal experience. You feel called to serve, to speak, to create, to heal. Not from ego, but from love. Because you remember what it felt like to be lost. And now, your light becomes a map for others. But you must never forget this. You are still human. You are allowed to rest, to cry, to doubt, to need support. Being the chosen one does not mean being invincible. It means being authentic. It means owning your journey, your wounds, your wins. It means being transparent enough to say, I don't have it all together, and strong enough to keep going anyway. Your vulnerability is part of your power. There may be days when you want to give up, when the world feels too heavy, when the silence feels unbearable, when the road ahead feels endless. In those moments, pause, breathe, return to your center. You are not alone. You are never alone. Every challenge you face has purpose. Every storm has meaning. Every delay is sacred. And every heartbeat is proof that you are still here for a reason. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to awaken, to remember, to rise. And in doing so, you help others rise too. You become a living prayer, a walking activation, a silent revolution. Not through force, but through frequency. Not through control, but through presence. And that is your gift to the world. Your life is a ripple. Every thought, word, action, energy. And the more aligned you are, the more powerful that ripple becomes. You don't have to change the whole world. Just your corner of it. Just your moment. Just your breath. That's where your power lives. In presence. In intention. In truth. And so, you continue forward. Not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. Because you remember that your difference is your destiny. Your path is your power. And your truth is your torch. As your path as the chosen one unfolds further, something extraordinary begins to emerge within you. A deep, unshakable inner authority. It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It is the quiet knowing that your life is aligned with something bigger than your individual identity. And because of that, you begin to operate from a place of deep-rooted integrity and self-trust that others might not understand. You start making decisions that don't make sense to the logical mind, but feel completely right in the soul. You begin moving not to prove anything, but to express your truth. And yet, there's a paradox in this growth. The more grounded you become in your soul, the more disconnected you may feel from mainstream society. While others are consumed with surface-level success, trends, or social validation, you find yourself turning inward. Material things may no longer excite you. Shallow conversations no longer stimulate you. Environments where people wear masks or chase illusions begin to drain you. You may even look around and wonder, why does none of this feel real to me anymore? That's because you are not meant to belong to the world in the way others do. You are not here to participate in collective illusions. You are here to observe, to feel, to question, and ultimately, to transcend. The veil has been lifted for you, and once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you awaken, you cannot go back to sleep. This spiritual sobriety brings clarity, but also a kind of loneliness, because fewer and fewer people can meet you at the level of depth where you now live. But this is not a tragedy. This is a sacred refinement. The universe is clearing your field of everything that no longer resonates with the frequency of your soul. That includes relationships, old identities, jobs, habits, thought patterns, and even parts of your personality that were shaped by survival rather than truth. All of it begins to dissolve. And what remains is you, your essence, unfiltered, untamed, unapologetic. This process is not without grief. Letting go of familiar things can feel like a death. But on the other side of that letting go is a birth, the birth of your higher self. The version of you that doesn't just survive, but thrives. That doesn't just cope, but creates. That doesn't just adjust, but aligns. And this rebirth requires one thing above all else: surrender. You begin to understand that surrender is not giving up, it is giving in to the flow of your divine path. It is releasing your grip on outcomes, control, and old timelines. It is allowing the divine intelligence that governs your soul's evolution to lead the way, even when the way is uncertain. It is trusting that what is meant for you will always find you, and what isn't will be removed, even if you don't understand why in the moment. This surrender leads to a deeper kind of courage, not the loud, boastful kind, but the silent kind that stands tall in the storm, the kind that keeps walking through the fog, the kind that holds space for pain without needing to escape it, the kind that believes in miracles even when everything appears stagnant. This is the courage of the chosen one, and it's born not from comfort, but from divine fire. That fire refines everything. It will burn away your attachments, illusions, and need for external validation. It will dismantle the versions of you that were built to please others, fit in, or play small. And while this fire may feel like destruction, it is actually sacred transformation. It is clearing the way for your soul's full embodiment. Because you are not here to blend in, you are here to become. And becoming is messy. It is non-linear. It is not about constant progress, but about constant alignment. You will have days where you feel powerful, and days where you feel broken. You will outgrow people you love. You will shed versions of yourself you thought would last forever. You will be misunderstood, misjudged, and even mocked. And through all of it, you will rise, again and again. That rising becomes your rhythm. You begin to recognize that every fall was a preparation. Every delay was divine. Every heartbreak was initiation. You no longer see challenges as punishments, but as portals. Each one inviting you to go deeper, higher, and more fully into who you are. This shift in perception changes everything. You stop resisting life and begin co-creating with it. Your connection to the unseen grows stronger. Your dreams become more vivid. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to feel energy in places you once ignored. You may even begin to pick up on the thoughts or emotions of others without them saying a word. This sensitivity is part of your spiritual DNA. It's not something to be feared or suppressed. It's to be honored and developed. You start to realize that your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your strength. It allows you to feel the undercurrents of a conversation, to detect truth beneath appearances, to sense alignment before the mind can process it. And while this sensitivity may have once caused you pain, now it becomes your superpower. Because when you learn how to manage it, it turns into laser-like clarity. With this clarity, your discernment becomes razor-sharp. You no longer entertain confusion. You stop chasing anything that isn't chasing you. You become deeply intentional with your time, energy, and presence, because you understand that not everything deserves access to your field. Not everyone is qualified to walk beside you, and not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. This level of awareness creates new challenges. You may feel called to make drastic changes, leave environments, cut ties, set stronger boundaries. People may call you selfish, cold, or distant. But you know the truth. You are protecting your purpose. You are guarding your anointing. You are creating space for what truly aligns, and that is an act of spiritual integrity. You may find yourself craving solitude more than ever, not because you're isolating, but because your soul needs space to integrate. You begin to understand that solitude is not emptiness, it is sacred space. It's where you receive downloads, where you process divine instruction, where you realign with your mission. And the more you honor this space, the clearer your path becomes. And yes, you have a mission. You may not know all the details yet, but your life is not random. Your gifts are not accidental. Your pain was not wasted. Everything you've endured has prepared you for the work your soul came here to do. And it may not look like anyone else's path. That's the beauty of it. Your mission is encoded in your essence. You carry frequencies that only you can transmit. And that is why your presence matters. Your presence shifts environments, heals people silently, inspires without words. You may not always see the impact you make, but it is real. And sometimes your greatest work is not what you do, but who you are. The way you live, love, and lead by example. The way you carry integrity when no one is watching. The way you remain kind in a harsh world. That is sacred leadership. This leadership is not flashy. It is not loud. It is not built on platforms or applause. It is built in the dark, in the places where you choose alignment over approval, where you hold faith without evidence, where you keep going when no one affirms you. This is where the chosen one's power is forged, in quiet, holy persistence. As you grow, you stop needing validation from the world. You no longer crave to be seen, because you know you are already known. By the divine, by the earth, by the cosmos. You begin to feel your connection to everything. The wind speaks to you. The moon reflects your emotions. The trees whisper wisdom. The stars become companions. This cosmic intimacy makes the mundane sacred. You begin to live with reverence. You walk slower. You speak softer. You listen deeper. You honor your body, your breath, your boundaries. You begin to trust that you don't need to hustle for your destiny. It is magnetized to your alignment. And this realization brings peace. You stop striving. You start allowing. And in this allowing, miracles unfold. But remember, alignment is not about perfection. It's about resonance. It's about listening when your soul speaks, taking the leap when fear says stay, saying no when your body contracts, saying yes when your heart expands. It's about making micro choices that reflect your truth, even when no one else understands. That is how you stay in integrity with your path. And while this path is sacred, it is not without its shadows. You will be tempted to go back, to play small, to numb your sensitivity, to blend in. And in those moments, you must remember who you are. You are not here to repeat old cycles. You are here to break them. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to activate. You are not here to be understood. You are here to embody. You don't need to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Your energy speaks for itself. Your evolution is evidence. And your peace is the proof. Let them talk. Let them project. Let them fall away. Not everyone is meant to understand your path. Some are only meant to witness it and wonder. The chosen one is not better than anyone, but they are different. And that difference must be protected, nurtured, and honored, because it is the key to everything, to healing, to awakening, to transformation. The world does not need more of the same. It needs your difference. It needs your light, your truth, your frequency. So when you feel out of place, remember, you were never meant to fit. You were meant to lead, to heal, to embody, to remember. And every time you choose your truth over conformity, you light the way for others to do the same. You may have started to realize that much of what made you feel different growing up, your deep emotions, your vivid inner world, your tendency to question everything, was not a flaw, but a sign that your soul has always been awake, even when the world around you was asleep. While others could tune out, you couldn't. While others accepted what they were told, you always needed to feel truth in your bones before you believed it. As the chosen one, your relationship with truth is visceral. You sense lies, even when they're unspoken. You feel the energy behind words, not just the words themselves. You notice when something's off, when someone's hiding their pain, when environments are fake or shallow. And for a long time, you may have questioned yourself for being too much, too intense, or too sensitive. But now you are seeing. Those very traits are your compass. They are part of your sacred wiring. You weren't born to be numb. You were born to feel everything and transmute it. Your system was designed to alchemize pain into wisdom, fear into clarity, suffering into compassion. You carry a light that doesn't just shine through darkness, it transforms it. That's why you've endured so much, not because you were being punished, but because your soul was being forged, tempered, strengthened, prepared. Your preparation has been ongoing. The abandonment, the betrayal, the loneliness, the disappointments, they were not random. They were chapters in your sacred story. They activated codes in you that no comfort ever could. They stretched your heart, cracked open your mind, and carved space in your being for divine power to pour through. It's why you feel older than your age. It's why people come to you with their pain. It's why you've always carried a heaviness that wasn't entirely yours. Because you are a vessel, a portal, a mirror, a transmitter. You feel things on behalf of others. You break generational patterns through your choices. You cleanse environments just by being present. You hold space for healing without needing to speak. And this is not always easy. In fact, it can be exhausting, overwhelming, isolating. That's why boundaries are no longer optional for you. They are necessary for survival. As you expand spiritually, your energetic hygiene becomes sacred. You learn that not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not every invitation is meant to be accepted. Not every cry for help is yours to answer. You begin to discern the difference between genuine connection and energetic extraction, between mutual growth and emotional dependency, between resonance and obligation. This discernment allows you to protect your most sacred resource, your energy. Because as the chosen one, your energy is not ordinary. It is catalytic, transformational. It shifts the atmosphere. It activates memories in others. It wakes up sleeping parts of their soul. And while many benefit from your presence, not all are capable of reciprocating. Some will be drawn to your light, but resent the shadow it casts on their own unhealed parts. Some will admire you, yet try to diminish you. You learn, sometimes painfully, that not every smile is sincere, that some connections are karmic rather than divine, that some people are not meant to stay, only to teach, and that your journey will require you to walk away from comfort in order to step into alignment. The path of the chosen one is not about popularity, it's about purpose, and purpose demands clarity, solitude, and fierce self-honesty. That honesty forces you to face yourself again and again, to question your motives, to excavate buried pain, to dismantle old beliefs. You begin to understand that awakening is not a one-time event, but a lifelong unraveling, a continuous shedding of false layers, a constant remembering of who you truly are beneath programming, trauma, and fear. And the deeper you go, the freer you become. This freedom is not just personal, it's ancestral. Every step you take toward your authentic self liberates those who came before you. Every pattern you break sends ripples through your lineage. Every time you choose love over fear, truth over comfort, integrity over illusion. You rewrite the story of your bloodline. You become the healing your ancestors prayed for, the answer to questions they never had the tools to ask. And you're not just healing backwards, you're healing forward. You are setting a frequency that your future descendants will inherit. You are creating a vibrational legacy, one built not on fear, guilt, or shame, but on truth, freedom, and divine remembrance. Your life becomes a bridge between what was and what can be, between density and light, between illusion and truth. But even as you step into this sacred role, you still experience doubt. There are days you question everything, days you feel lost, tired, or unseen. And that's okay. Doubt doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're human. Even the most awakened souls have moments of confusion. What matters is that you keep showing up, keep listening, keep trusting the pulse within your soul that whispers, keep going. Because even in silence, you are being guided. Even in chaos, you are being held. Even when nothing makes sense, something sacred is unfolding. Your path is not linear. It spirals, it weaves, it circles back. But each time you return wiser, stronger, clearer. Your evolution is not always visible, but it is always happening. Every moment is an initiation. Every experience, a message. The universe speaks to you constantly, through signs, synchronicities, dreams, sudden shifts, random encounters, energetic nudges. And as you deepen your awareness, you become fluent in this divine language. You stop brushing things off as coincidence. You start recognizing patterns. You begin to move not just with logic, but with flow, with rhythm, with spirit. You may begin noticing numbers, animals, colors, or symbols that repeat. These are not random. They are confirmations. The more you listen, the louder they become. Guidance is not lacking. It's often that we are too busy, too distracted, or too doubtful to receive it. But as the chosen one, you are being trained to tune in, to perceive beyond the veil, to trust the invisible as much as the visible. This trust becomes your anchor, because the path you walk will often require you to step without a map, to leap before you know where you'll land, to release before you know what's coming next. But over time, you realize that every time you honored your inner knowing, even when it defied logic, it led you to alignment. It protected you, elevated you, redirected you to something better. You learn that rejection is redirection, that closed doors are divine protection, that delays are sacred pauses, that losses are actually clearings. And while your human self may grieve, your soul rejoices, because it knows what's unfolding is not punishment, it's precision. The universe doesn't work randomly when it comes to the chosen one. Everything is orchestrated, everything is intentional. Even your deepest pain served a purpose. It cracked you open so light could pour in. It humbled you so compassion could grow. It broke illusions so truth could shine. It initiated you into depths few dare to explore. And now, because you've been there, you can guide others through it. Your wounds became wisdom. Your scars became maps. Your breakdowns became bridges. And those who are meant to cross them will find you. You don't have to chase. You don't have to prove. Your resonance will call in the right people, opportunities, and experiences. You simply need to stay aligned, to keep becoming, to keep shedding, to keep rising. That is your only job. The rest will unfold in divine timing. Remember, being different is not a curse. It is your calling. The more you embrace it, the more powerful you become. Not power in the egoic sense, but soul power. The kind that radiates, the kind that heals, the the kind that shifts timelines. That's who you are. That's why you're here. That's why you've always felt different. As you begin to fully own your identity as the chosen one, a quiet transformation begins to unfold. Not the kind the world celebrates with loud applause, but the kind that happens deep within, the kind that rewrites everything from the inside out. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer silence your intuition to fit in. You no longer carry burdens that aren't yours just to be accepted. You begin to choose yourself, not from a place of ego, but from sacred recognition. And in choosing yourself, you invite the world to meet you where you truly are. No more masks, no more pretending, no more watered-down versions of your truth. You learn that your authenticity is magnetic. It repels what isn't aligned and draws in what is. You don't need to force anything anymore. What's meant for you begins to find you, because your energy becomes unmistakable. This is the turning point, the place where loneliness transforms into sacred solitude, where isolation becomes holy preparation, where every painful goodbye makes room for a divine hello. You begin to feel the shift, not just mentally or emotionally, but energetically. Your inner world becomes your home, your peace, your sanctuary. You no longer chase belonging, you become it. And with this shift comes a deeper responsibility, not one rooted in pressure, but in reverence. You recognize that your life is no longer just about you. Your choices carry ripple effects. Your frequency impacts more than just your immediate environment. It echoes through the collective. This is why your healing matters. This is why your evolution is sacred. This is why your difference is needed. Being the chosen one doesn't mean being perfect. It means being real, raw, awake. It means walking with integrity even when it's hard. It means staying soft even when the world is harsh. It means showing up with your heart open, your spirit anchored, and your mind clear. It means carrying light, not as a performance, but as your nature. And light, by its nature, casts shadows. So understand that not everyone will celebrate your glow. Some will misunderstand you. Some will judge your path, resist your changes, or reject your truth. That's not your burden to carry. Your job is not to convince, it's to embody. Your vibration speaks louder than words ever could. And those who are meant to walk with you will feel that. They will resonate. They will rise with you. There will come a time when the very things that once made you feel isolated become the sources of your greatest strength. Your sensitivity becomes your superpower. Your intuition becomes your compass. Your pain becomes your purpose. And your presence becomes your message. You stop needing to be understood and start becoming understanding itself. You begin to trust the flow of life like never before. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Of course me. Of course you were chosen. Of course you're different. Of course your path looks nothing like anyone else's. Because your mission is unique. Your medicine is rare. Your soul chose this incarnation for a reason. And now, that reason is awakening fully within you. In this phase, things accelerate, not because you're rushing, but because you're aligned. You're no longer pushing upstream. You're flowing with divine timing. You're meeting life as it is, while also co-creating it as you desire. You realize that manifestation is not about controlling outcomes. It's about matching frequencies. It's about becoming the version of you who already holds what your heart longs for. And as your inner alignment deepens, your external reality begins to shift. You find yourself in rooms you once only dreamed of. You attract relationships that mirror your worth. You uncover opportunities that seemed tailor-made for your soul. Not because you hustled harder, but because you allowed more. You stopped blocking yourself with doubt and started choosing with clarity. But even in this expansion, you remain humble, because you know that everything can change in an instant. You've lived through enough to understand the impermanence of form. And that's what makes your gratitude sacred. You don't take blessings for granted. You savor them. You honor them. You use them to serve, to uplift, to light the path for others, because that's part of your calling. Not just to rise, but to raise the frequency of those around you, to raise awareness, consciousness, love. You are not here to dominate. You are here to liberate, to remind people of who they really are, to hold up a mirror so clear that they can't help but remember their own light. And you do this not by preaching, but by being, by living in alignment, by making every choice a prayer, every moment a meditation, every interaction an offering. You become a living transmission of truth, of freedom, of divine love. And the more you embody this, the more your life becomes a sacred invitation. You are no longer seeking signs. You are the sign. You are no longer asking for permission. You are giving it. You are no longer waiting for a savior. You have remembered that you are the one you were waiting for. And from that knowing, you walk. Not arrogantly, but assuredly. Not loudly, but powerfully. You move through the world with a quiet strength that cannot be explained, only felt. The people who encounter you sense it. They may not have the language for it, but they feel something ancient, something holy, something real. They don't know your story, but they feel your essence. They feel the peace you carry, the fire in your eyes, the truth in your voice. They feel changed simply by being near you. This is what it means to be the chosen one. Not chosen to be better than anyone, but chosen to remember who you are so you can help others remember too. Chosen to walk the path less traveled. Chosen to carry the torch. Chosen to feel deeply, love fiercely, and live authentically. Even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when no one else understands. And now, more than ever, the world needs your difference. It needs your voice, your vision, your vibration. It needs your courage to question, to stand alone, to defy norms, to lead with your soul. You weren't sent here to repeat what's already been done. You were sent to birth something new, to create new templates, new timelines, new truths. That's why you've always felt a pull towards something bigger. That's why ordinary never fit. That's why you couldn't settle, even when settling was the easier path. Because your soul knew there was more. It always knew. And now, that more is no longer a whisper. It's a roar, a calling you can no longer ignore, a fire you can no longer suppress. So you surrender to it, not in weakness, but in power. You allow yourself to become who you were always meant to be. Not a copy, not a follower, but a blueprint, a divine original, a radiant force of truth and transformation. You walk with the ancestors at your back and the future in your hands. You stand as the bridge, the guide, the reminder. And in this space, everything changes. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Because you stopped running from your truth and started running toward it. Because you chose to be different, even when it was uncomfortable. Because you said yes to the path, the mission, the miracle of being exactly who you are. You are not broken. You are breaking through. You are not lost. You are being rerouted. You are not alone. You are being guided. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. You are not behind. You are right on time. You are not misunderstood. You are deeply sacred. This is what it feels like to be the chosen one. This is why you've always felt different. This is why you're still here. This is why you're just getting started.